morning glory. Say there, stop that yawning. A brand new day is dawning. Pull up the shade and let the sun come through. Good morning glory. Spend about an hour underneath a shower and keep on singing like the birdies do.
Books of the Week is back on the air, and we're very excited that you wouldn't believe all that's happened behind the scenes already this morning. It has been a wild one, and you all weren't even here for it. Anyway, Jeff Messerman is the name here in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. CPL Radio is the station. We're a library radio station that already is an anomaly, just by saying that. I'm joined, of course, by Steve Donahue in Boston. Boston, of course, being the home of something very holy, the Boston cream pie. And it's 3.14 today. You're watching this on the 15th probably, but Steve, do you have one of those in your house?
Not at the moment, no.
No Boston cream pie? Okay.
No.
What time are you going to grab one?
A Dunkin' run. I will be going to Dunkin' Donuts to get a Boston cream pie. I assumed I would need to do that to restore my physical and moral strength after dealing with you for 30 days. After, not before.
The AMA does recommend something like that after a show like this. So fantastic. Great. Well, you know what else is interesting is the president is in my town, not Cedarburg, but Milwaukee today. And I already heard his first speech, and he said, folks, I'm here because this is the home of Books of the Week, and I wanted to see this amazing show. So,
well, he's a fan. Aren't they all?
I mean, how can you not be?
Yeah. I mean, we have an unbroken line of U.S. presidents who loved reading.
I think there was a fissure at one point, Steve. But, you know, and we're here to help them and you out. Let me tell you how we do things here. We do a nonfiction title, we do a fiction title, and then we have something called a wild card, which today promises to be extra wild. So stay tuned, everybody.
Try something new today.
Absolutely. So let's get things started on a proper note with a nonfiction title. What you have for us, Steve?
I have Byron Tao's book, Means of Control, which is all about two things. Its strongest part is about the world's biggest economy, the world's most booming economy, the world's most important economy, the world's most important means of commerce. And you're wondering, the pound, the dollar, the yen? But no, the world's biggest and most important economy is you. It's information. It's your data. One of the standout things from this book, I think, for future generations, for readers in the 2070s, will be just an amazement at how little any of us actually control our own currency.
You're scaring me, sir. Continue.
This element of this book, Means of Control, is scary because one element of this book is all about how that data is harvested. How many things around you at the moment are recording things without your permission and funneling that information to gigantic brokerages that only care about that. They don't care about money. They only care about data.
Do they talk, and I might be cart before the horse here, but do they talk about an end game for all this? Is there a why?
The other part of the book is why that would be. It's reflected in the title of the book, and it's the weaker part of the book. Because Byron Tao has all sorts of theories about, and there's some proof to them, all sorts of theories about who's doing this and why, and the why is to control the population.
I was afraid you were going to say that. I was hoping that wouldn't be the case.
Make them, the image that kept coming to my mind, Byron Tao doesn't use it, but the image that kept coming to my mind was slaughterhouses. So isn't this a great episode?
my eyebrows just left my head.
Industrial meat industry. Meat animals are born into a machinery. They never see the sun. They never feel pain. And they are given exactly what is needed in order to make them big meat animals. That's all. They're not given anything else. Literally nothing else is there. They don't have any kind of social contact at all. They don't have anything that might taste good. They just have what will make them big meat animals.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling that you get in Byron Tao's book, is that he says that is the ultimate goal here, that governments and big businesses are in cahoots with each other to use all of this to control the population. You don't necessarily have to believe that when you're reading this book. And I don't think he makes a rock solid case that this is anything more than just unfocused greed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That maybe the goal here is not to control the population, it's just to get you Viagra ads.
Buy more pie.
Yeah. I don't think he makes a case for this grand unifying structure of social media or data manipulation, but the scary part of his book, it's very good. It's very well worth reading. You should read it.
Yeah.
Everyone should read it. But the scary part of his book is that although I don't think he makes that case, he lays the groundwork. So if that coordination doesn't exist, it easily could.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a strange plan, though, because it seems like there's so many areas that if one piece doesn't work and any of those pieces could fail, I mean, for any number of reasons, Elon Musk says something stupid, bye-bye X. I mean, it could happen in an hour. We don't even know. So it seems like if something fails in this master plan, if that's what he's selling, it won't work.
Right. That's why the master plan part of the book I don't think will convince readers.
Yeah.
But the other part of the book, like, first of all, I don't want to dwell too long on your utter heresy of even suggesting that Elon Musk could do something stupid.
Did I say that?
You did. And I'm worried he's going to come for us because he's got nothing better to do, because he's an 13-year-old.
He has great skin.
Yeah. And it glows with that special glow that you only get when you lose $130 billion in 1 year.
I'd break out, but he does not.
World's greatest businessman, world's greatest entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
$100 billion in 1 year. Just but the point I was trying to make is that how many people even guess the extent to which they are being monitored in any given day?
Yeah.
How many people know that their tires are smart devices? The tires on their cars are collecting data.
I just learned that recently when I had a blowout, and my garage said, "Everything okay?"
Yeah. And you might say, well, what kind of data could a tire accumulate anyway? It's literally the basis of the cliche of when the rubber meets the road. It knows where you go and how long you stay there.
That's very true.
But that's just the tires. That huge Star Trek dashboard in your car, recorded everything. Absolutely everything, every conversation. Byron Tao's book will show people the extent of that in ways that I think will surprise them.
Yeah, absolutely. When we have, just cavalier check those boxes. We want a new app on our phone, thinking, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. I just want to use the app. You'd be amazed what you just agreed to.
Yeah, you'd be amazed. The people that are on Facebook and Instagram have absolutely no idea that they are working for Facebook.
Oh,
you're working with that agreement, that terms of service agreement that you signed without reading, is saying that they own everything you put on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all those pictures, of your little bastards, they're all, and Facebook can use them.
Yeah,
people don't realize that. You put a picture of an adorable kid on there, and someone at Facebook decides we want to make an ad series about this for us, or an ad series advertising, I don't even know, Taiwanese death camps.
Sure.
We want to use this kid's face. They can. Go ahead and sue them. You're going to sue Facebook. Great. Get back to us about that.
I post two things, my cats and whatever I'm eating. That's it. So go ahead, Facebook. See what you can do with that.
In Steve's ideal world, those two things would be the same.
Wow.
That person, all of you listeners here.
Yes. Those of us who watch Steve's channel regularly know his feelings on the feline community. He doesn't trust them. And you know what's scary? He's kind of right. Anyway, let's move on over to our fiction department now is open and ready for business. Steve, sell us on something good.
Oh, I was supposed to choose something good?
Oh. Sell us on something mildly compelling.
Oh, I was supposed to pick something mildly compelling?
Doesn't have pages. Doesn't have a cover.
Yes, all right, fine. It has pages and a cover, yes. Our fiction excursion
Mhm.
is a novel called Annie Bot by Sierra Greer.
Hmm.
And before we even get into describing it, we need to go over a word. We all need to be on the same page about a weird word, a word that would only be known to you if you sojourn in the men's rights movement parts of the internet.
Oh.
If you spend time with angry incels. No. uh,
They're a fun bunch, aren't they?
yeah. in in normal parlance, in the normal world with normal people, there's a word called misogyny, and it refers to men who have a blanket, unthinking, undiscriminating dislike or hatred of women. And the men's rights crowd developed years ago the equivalent, misandry. Misandry is the word of the day.
All right.
And misandry means a blanket, unthinking, undiscriminating hatred of men. Where if well, the motto is if you if you've got something that dangles, we're going to tangle. I know the things you learn on this show.
Oh, I'm getting a bumper sticker tomorrow, Steve.
I just wanted to set the stage with that word when we talk about Antibot, which takes place in a poorly demarcated near future, in which men can buy luxurious, voluptuous female robots that see to their every need.
Everyone?
They are. It's a concept that is not fully or even mostly explored by the author. But in that case, it's hard to distinguish it because she doesn't really fully explore any concepts in her book. But these are sex toys. In addition to housekeepers and makers of food and companions and conversation pieces, they're also sex toys. These robots, these Stellas, are made to do everything. They're made to answer every need, a man's every need.
I mean, we've seen this before in other art forms and science fiction movies and things of that nature.
Right.
I think even Star Trek dabbled in this once or twice, didn't they? I mean, this is not, yeah.
Yes. I don't know for sure how much affection there is in calling these things Stella. There is an old Star Trek episode that has female robots. There are an ending number of duplicates of one of the characters' horrible, shrewish wife.
I remember. Yes.
Okay, if you have that premise, man has female robot, she is his property, she has been designed to please him. Then you open door number 1 or door number 2. Behind door number 1 will be a thoughtful exploration of agency.
Sure.
And behind door number 2 will be a gigantic snow-covered mountain of misandry.
Oh, no.
Which is why we had the word.
For those of you taking notes at home.
Yes, it's very rare that Books of the Week has a vocabulary word that is not about fried lard. The robot narrator of this book belongs to a man, and everything about the book, everything about whether or not it is just channeled ideology, will depend on that man. And the man in the book is a childish, brutish man baby. Now, the book Antibot doesn't have any real prose to talk about. You can't go to it for that. And it doesn't have anything remotely resembling the science fiction world building that would be necessary if this were a science fiction novel.
Sure.
No science fiction novel would let this thing go to market as undressed as it is. It doesn't have any of those things. So what you're left with is just reading it for the social stuff. And that means that if Doug is just a cartoon character, of a stupid, abusive, oblivious, self-centered, navel-gazing, sex-obsessed man.
Sure.
What I was going to say, what possible joy could you get out of this book? But I don't think you're meant to. This is a manifesto novel. I believe this is a manifesto, and that the manifesto's only tenet is all men think that all women, not women robots, but all women are basically antibot. All of them think that. And they don't. They don't.
This sounds like a deeply frustrating book.
I want to give just a brief thought experiment. Imagine if Sierra Greer had written a novel in which Doug is okay. Doug is just fine. And Antibot is what a previous generation would have thought of as a Playboy bunny.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if this were a novel in which Doug is a perfectly normal guy and Antibot is constantly vamping, and she's simple and she's childish and she's lisping and she's got the finger by her mouth. She mismakes the food, burns the souffle, and only wants to have sex with him all day long. Imagine if that were this book. Sierra Greer would never work again.
No.
That novel is inconceivable. That novel was written several times.
Yeah, more than likely.
Not only the prose sections of Playboy in the 1960s, but the letter columns. That novel was written. We don't write that novel anymore specifically because we realize how misogynistic it is. Mm-hmm. So
Larry Flint is gone. Bob Guccione is gone. All these guys who would have put their stamp of approval on this book are gone.
They would have done that because they were working out fictional creations of their own bigotry.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we supposed to do with this book? Where Antibot, she is growing a sense of self. She is starting to feel like maybe there's more to my life than just what I've been programmed to do. Yeah. And at every turn, her loutish, stupid husband, who is clearly meant to be a stand-in for all men,
of course,
is telling her, get back in the kitchen or back in the bedroom. Why are we supposed to read this and like it when we read those things in the 60s and didn't like them? Yeah. Why?
And those who did like them probably bought them on a wire rack at a truck stop.
Right. Right. Those who did like that. The point here that I won't stress because our younger viewers, if we have any, won't believe it. Is that back in the 60s, there were plenty of men, tens of thousands of men who did not like that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Were not knuckle dragging misogynists. So what if theoretically, I mean, I'm a sexy 28-year-old, but if I had been alive then and had been reading this stuff and thinking, oh, come on, do you not know a woman? If I felt that then, why am I not allowed to read Antibot and think, oh, come on?
Mm-hmm.
Why is anyone going to believe this? Why would you?
Is this like a revenge book? Like, I'll show them all that stuff that happened before. I'm going to release this, and you'll see. You'll see.
Our viewers, our listeners can decide for themselves.
Yeah.
When it comes to fiction, you tell me. Does this thing exist in your system?
This is actually the first time hearing of it. It hasn't really. And I was going to ask you, I guess, turn that around and say, is this getting, God help us, rave reviews? Is other outlets saying this is great?
If you listening, if you get this from your library or your bookstore or whatever, you tell me.
In comments, people, we have comments for a reason.
For a reason. It's not just to say, boy, these guys stink. You could mix it up once in a while. That's how I read this book. I went into it with the best of intentions, and
You always do.
I got no more than 60 pages in before I was thinking, what, am I Doug? Am I the husband? Is that what you think? Do you think that if you made this perfect, curvy, beautiful, young sex robot and gave it to every man in the world, they would all act this way? Is that what you think? Because if so, not only are you wrong, but I'm reading your psych eval.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah.
In which case,
right. I was just going to say, like, what a slap in the face to 50% or more of your potential readership. Like, this is, hi, buy my book. I hate you.
It's bad enough I have to wallow in your psych eval. I don't want to do it to any authors.
Could you tell me your findings at some point? I'm over here. Just you leave me hanging.
They're mostly just pie.
It's such a good day. All right. Well,
about the origin, I'm in Boston, but in case you were wondering, the boxed pie in the office leaves no doubt that my producer is in Wisconsin.
Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. It's the heartland, everybody. Hey, so that is a wonderful non-recommendation recommendation for fiction. I would say read it anyway, because it's just, for me, it's like, it sounds like artillery to say, this doesn't work, people, and I know why. So there we go. We got the Cliff Notes on that one. What we have now for the wild card, we're going to break a sweat on this one. We're going to make Steve squirm, and if Steve's squirming, I'm squirming twice as much. So I'll give the ground rules here. I grabbed 10 new books off our new arrivals area, 5 fiction, 5 nonfiction, a few of which I've actually read, and I'm hoping to stump. I was going to say stump the chump. I want to stump the critic and see which one. He'll have an opinion on everything, I'm sure, because that is his life and his job.
We'll see.
Are you ready? Everyone,
I don't know what he's picked.
You have no idea.
I don't know what he's picked. Ladies and gentlemen, and Annie-bots.
our biggest demographic. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Oops, sorry. I grabbed this because I'm a fan of the man, and I read it, and I was a little underwhelmed. Sir, how about you?
Well, we should tell people what you're holding out, right?
Good idea, isn't it? Yes. It's the first time we've done this. Oh, yeah. Once again, as our usual, we forget there's an audience. Hi, guys. Getting some pie today? Good. Remembrance, Selected Correspondence of Ray Bradbury, edited by Jonathan R. Eller. Is
And in this limited case, I don't like to do it because it just encourages him. I agree with my producer. It is underwhelming. You got it's a collection of Ray Bradbury's correspondence, and he could be a very lively letter writer.
Yes.
It was from an era when all of us had that skill. If you're born in the 21st century, you're going to have to Google it because there's no correspondence anymore. That whole method of human communication is gone. But the problem with you get the sense in this volume that you're not getting the good stuff, and I don't know why that is.
I feel like they grabbed the wrong letters. It's like they grabbed the wrong box.
Yeah, the problem with this volume is not the idea of the correspondence of Ray Bradbury. The problem with this volume is the word selected.
Yeah,
you don't like the selection.
No.
So there you go.
Yes, there is. That's good. I will say, I would add, I liked the ones that he wrote to his family, like mom and dad. I thought those were actually a little revealing. Everything else, all the business correspondence, dry, very dry. All right, folks, moving on to California Golden. I got to get used to this angle here. California Golden by Melanie Benjamin, and this dropped back in August. Any familiarity?
I don't know it.
Okay.
No. Are those surfers? On the-
That is, yes, those are surfers. It is 2 sisters navigate the thrilling, euphoric early days of California surf culture in this dazzling saga of ambition, sacrifice, and the tangled ties between mothers and daughters. That sounds like a Steve book to me. No.
All right.
There we go. Moving on.
This year.
Yes.
I missed it completely.
Okay.
Yeah,
it happens.
The pioneering women of the early surf culture in California.
Without them, Steve, where would we be? I ask you.
Where would we be? I remember thinking just that when I read about them in the 10 histories of American surf that I've read. Oh, wait. They didn't mention any women. Well, I'm sure this author's read 10 other histories of the early surfers.
I would opine there might be anybody. Oh, I didn't say that. Anyway, moving on to we're in trouble now. How about now? This you must have touched because this seemed to get a little bit of heat. All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby.
Very good stuff. Sharp stuff. These are thrillers, but they are angry. They're icily written. All the Sinners Bleed is very good.
Nice. I've been actually meaning to get to it. Looks like my kind of thing. So
it will not bore you.
Excellent.
Many thrillers. So many new thrillers that come out in hardcover have long stretches where they bore you, and this will not bore you.
Nice. All right. Fantastic. He's got some earlier titles too that I guess are equally enjoyable. So do an S.A. Cosby deep dive. Wellness by Nathan Hale, the man who does not seem to own a backspace key because all of his books are very beefy. Are they worth being this beefy?
Did you say Nathan Hale?
Nathan Hill. Yes. Sorry. Hey, I have not begun to. All right, go ahead.
He had an unbelievable debut. His debut novel was just praised by everybody.
The Knicks.
That's always, a mixed blessing. But this book is fantastic.
Really? Oh, great.
I mean, it's the author easing himself back and putting forward his world. In other words, it's a serious novel. You're going to have to sit and pay attention to it.
Yes.
But it's worth it. Oh, my.
I read the first half, and it wasn't supposed to because it looked interesting, but I grabbed it off the truck. But it suddenly the holds were spiking and filling up very quickly, and I had to give it to my patrons. So I would like to finish it, but I enjoyed with the first half. I really enjoyed, but I was fearful that it might not sustain it. But it sounds to me like
I'm just assuming it goes without saying. It's a novel written in the 21st century, so it doesn't have an ending. I'm just assuming it goes without saying. I probably shouldn't assume that. I should probably say that. No, it keeps going along, and the plot lines are all converging, and they look like they're building to the climax, and then the author leaves the room. If you don't know that about contemporary fiction, you might as well be told. If it's contemporary so-called literary fiction, it's just going to stop. It's not going to end. It's going to be incredibly unsatisfying.
Yeah. Excellent. Well,
I guess we just have to accept
that is that. Well, so the most revolutionary act you can do as a fiction writer nowadays is write an ending. So
bring your climax, bring your plots to a climax. But no,
not that hard, people. We got a nonfiction title called "The Overlooked Americans." It looks like a bit of a treatise on the resilience of rural towns and what it means for our country. And what does it mean, Steve?
It's very, very good.
Excellent. Good.
And the weird thing is that 70 years ago, it would have been describing 80% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 80% of the population, 80%, lives in some sort of urban arrangement, either in a major city or in the satellite communities of a major city. So rural Americans, rural communities, really rural. I mean, one stoplight. I mean, one main street. I mean, farms within 5 minutes that go on forever.
I drove through some of that last night. Actually, I was going to visit someone out in and I was really kind of shocking. And I think articulated at one point, I've left the planet Earth. It's a strange.
Yeah, there wasn't always that big a divide. Now there is.
Yeah.
And this book is wonderful on that subject. Just
excellent.
Wonderful.
I love it.
If you are, chances are that if you are a city or a suburb dweller in 21st century America, the chances are pretty good. This is a recent change. So the chances are pretty good that you have some sort of roots in a rural community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this does not condescend.
Nice.
Which is
excellent. Great. Yeah. Great. All right. Moving on to Adam Alter's Anatomy of a Breakthrough.
I don't know this at all.
Interesting. All right. How to get well, I know it seems like it might be a self-help thing. How to get unstuck when it matters most, like right now here in the show. Groundbreaking guide to getting unstuck and making breakthroughs in every sphere of life, from creative pursuits and sports to entrepreneurship and relationships. It's a big one, everybody.
He just grabbed them at random. He's not trying to taunt me.
I didn't know. If I had known, I would have grabbed it anyway.
I haven't read the book, but I feel like I have. Allow me to give you the TLDR.
Here it comes.
There is no hack for work.
Yeah, but no.
Result, you have to work. You have to do work. There is no hack for work.
You know, the ladies of the California surfing culture would disagree with that.
Yes. So Queen Kamehameha, Queen Lilia Kalani was hanging at dawn at the dawn break. So if you're stuck, you have to work your way out. There's no hack for work. So
is there an app?
I know. I was trying to just get to rant for the next 40 minutes. We don't have any more books.
So we have here The Sisterhood, The Secret History of Women at the CIA. This one feels pretty spicy.
Yeah, and it was fascinating. I had no idea that women founded the CIA. I had no idea that women pushed through FDR's Great Works programs. I had no idea that a woman was actually the first president of the United States. I had no idea.
Apparently, they also tracked down Bin Laden.
And killed him. Yeah, shot him in the head. Or hanged him, or maybe both. And then dumped his body off the side of an aircraft carrier deep at sea, and the aircraft carrier was captained by a woman, and all the crew were women. And the people who made the bullets were also women.
Moving on.
So I guess misandry is the founding theme of
this. Now knowing
there were women in the formative years of the CIA, and they were secretaries.
That can't be.
I don't like that fact any more than you do. I don't like the fact that there were great women authors in the age of Shakespeare or Socrates. I don't like that fact any more than you do. That doesn't mean it didn't happen that way. In the 21st century, you build your own reality and then move inside. And this is nice reality. I like it.
I haven't perfected that. I'm still working on that.
Secretaries. They were secretaries.
Okay. We're gonna move away from the CIA and the skirts of the CIA. We're just gonna move away from that. And I grabbed this knowing full well that I thought it would set Steve off, but I think we've already done that. So let's do this instead. Your favorite, The Wolves of Eternity from Karl Uwe Knausgaard.
Yes.
What you got for me on that one?
It stinks. I know you really want a wordsmith for your critic, don't you?
No. Brevity sometimes cuts like a knife. Now I have a very distinguished gentleman here I'd like to introduce you to. You have more hair than him, Steve. It is the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
Make it so.
Yes. I forget very early on in the book, in celebrity memoirs like this, especially actor memoirs, very early on in the book, they will say something flowery like, I could not have written this book without so-and-so who felt like the wind beneath my wings. And what that means is I checked with him on a couple of weekends to see how my book was coming. But we didn't write it together. We weren't Steve rolled up in the workroom together. It wasn't anything like that. He wrote it, and I checked in on him once in a while. The problem here is that a lot of our listeners grew up with Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard.
Absolutely.
He was the stand-in, conscientious, thoughtful, caring parent figure while their own loser parents were off at the monster truck rally. and the word that's often used to describe him is Shakespearean. And that means that my evaluation of the book is going to jar on those people. I don't want to jar on our listeners. I will merely point out that actors are stupid. Really, really stupid. We're talking purebred collie stupid.
Look at those eyes.
Yeah, I know. Patrick Stewart basically told his favorite anecdotes that are colorful and fun and subtly self-aggrandizing to an amanuensis who wrote the thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to know those stories, well, this is the book for you. Just don't buy it all. I guess what I'm saying is that, well, we, of course, here at the Cedarburg Public Library, we don't need to buy it at all.
No, if you have that little plastic card, you get to take Jean-Luc home. Free of charge. I've really needled you today, and I guess I'm gonna get two more left. And they're the most needlesome of all. Your old friend. I had to do it. Your viewers are always saying, "But Steve, how can you not love him?" Steve, how can you not love him?
Holly by Stephen King.
That's the one.
The further adventures of our plucky crime solver.
Like Nancy Drew, only with more sex.
Yeah. And lots and lots of references to an author named Stephen King. Because,
King's in there again? He's done that before.
Yeah, that's the world we live in.
He wrote himself into his book.
in which people work and they play, and when they read Stephen King. It's just the world we live in. And who are you who's telling us this? Oh, I happen to be Stephen King. In this case, our eponymous detective is dealing with dark academia, dealing with murderous professors.
Ah.
And it's awful. It's just awful. There isn't anything in it, no plot development at all that isn't telegraphed 10 chapters ahead of time. None of the characters are just collections of slang. That's all. It's different slang. It's different odd idioms, but that's all they are. They don't go, and it's what I've been asking about this guy for 50 years. How can you do this for so long without getting any better at it?
I think you asked that about Danielle Steele at one point too.
I'm suddenly realizing that's a rather awkward question about CPL radio. We should probably move on.
We will. We're gonna end on a very on an awful note. I cannot believe, but we were requested by patrons to bring this in. So this will keep you up nights, Steve, knowing that library patrons, we have the price guide. What in the world is this doing in our library? I don't know.
Of course, I don't know anything about this because the U.S. Constitution does not give you the right to own a gun.
It says right here.
That ought to be wonders for our subscription numbers.
It's the 14th edition. We've been down this road 13 times prior.
Obviously, I don't know anything about this book because you don't have the right to own a gun in America.
You might not even have the right to own this book.
I can turn the tables on you.
Yes.
Why?
You froze up at a great time, but you're coming back here. Hold tight. I'm going to need that commentary one more time. You froze up. So what was the question again, Steve?
I shouldn't have mentioned the part about the Second Amendment. That would be the problem right there.
Yeah. No, I my nonfiction buyer.
Okay.
My nonfiction buyer. Yeah.
People come in and use these guidebooks.
I guess so. So I hear
prices. I'm assuming that a lot of that book is about collectible guns, older guns, rarer guns. So it seems to me that
it's just a guide. I mean, there's really nothing too interesting or compelling going on here. It's just yeah, it's like baseball cards, you know.
But does the library have other guides like that for cars or porcelain or something? And are they used?
We do. We checked out a lot because people always think, hey,
wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, they think that trunk upstairs in the attic of Uncle Roger's may have this might be my next mortgage or something. You know, that's kind of the thought process.
But I guess what I'm asking is why wouldn't they own it? But I guess it makes sense. It's a thing you'll only use once in a while.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It's a strange thing. No, that's why I grabbed it at the end. I was like, what do we say about this? And is it
why it was patron requested? Do a lot of your patrons have guns?
Yeah, it's Wisconsin. You know, we're purple, so half the state probably does, and the other half is thinking about it. You know, they're on the verge of pulling the trigger. Hey, that's a
you know what else is purple?
What's that?
The giant suppurating exit wound when your 3-year-old accidentally shoots you.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we don't have a buying guide for gun cabinets, unfortunately. We just have.
You don't have the right to own a gun unless you're part of a well-regulated state militia. Are you? No, you're not. You're a middle hopper from the next 2 towns over. You've never been part of a well-organized anything. You're not part of a well-organized state militia, and so you don't have the right to own a gun.
The best part, though, of Wisconsin's well-organized state militia is at the meetings. It's pie. By the way, this is the blueberry one, and that's purple.
all the fancy literary podcasts, when they come full circle to Joan Didion. We come full circle to pie.
See, I like the linkage. It's very bookended here. So there we are. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the wildest of things we've ever tried on this show. I think we should do that like once a month. We can't do that every week because I think I'll break Steve or he'll break me. Something will get broken. But we'll do this again. Let us know in comments if this was something you enjoyed. And we better get nice comments. As Steve said once on a prior show, no Weisenheimers. Anyway, this is Books of the Week. Wild show today. I'm not sure where we categorize this one, but we will be back next week with our normal titles, and we'll put Steve in charge of the wild card next week, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Steve. Wonderful stuff as always. Have a wonderful reading week, all of you, and we will be back. Take care from Wisconsin and Boston. Go get a pie.